Adab, Sat Sri Akal, and hello everyone. Welcome to Triveni Media Live. And this is The Magic in You with Shonali. So, Triveni Media is a platform, as you must have seen our previous programs, where we bring in a lot of lovely people who have contributed to society in their own ways. And we've had the opportunity to speak to them, to talk to them, and have lovely conversations where they shared their journeys with us. And in The Magic in You, we always call for, we believe that people have their intrinsic magic in them, and that is what we would like for them to share with us. Triveni Media is back after a few slow months when we were very busy with what I would say life in general. And a couple of weeks ago, Shibani hosted a program where we absolutely loved watching talented Anindita Mukherjee Tandon and listening to her amazing voice, trained in Hindustani classical. Anindita is also a very kind person, and we from Triveni Media would like to thank her generosity for sponsoring our banner. Triveni Media is a non-profit platform and was started a year ago, approximately, to be precise, on 19th of June last year, as a platform to raise funds for people in need during the COVID crisis. And we managed to raise about £1,775 through various online and face-to-face events. And all of the proceeds and donations were given to Indian Ladies in UK's India COVID Fund. Thanks to our sponsors, donors, well-wishers, without whose contribution we could not have raised that money. I'm sure many of you will be aware that Indian Ladies in UK is an NGO who do extensive work in UK to support Indian women in the UK and have about 30,000 women members on their Facebook group. And its founder, Poonam Joshi, went all the way to India from UK to help the people in Uttarakhand villages affected by COVID, particularly the orphans and the widows of COVID. I cannot not mention Poonam and her work, as I witnessed the depth of hands-on work she has done and left a lasting impression on me and on Triveni team. And we from Triveni Media are committed to people like Poonam, who contribute so much to society. Again, a wave to Poonam and our sincere gratitude. Now, on a similar note, when it comes to people making a positive impact in society, we have with us today a special guest who I admire from the work he does in an area which has, in my opinion, big looming gaps to bridge. It's hard to bridge because it cannot be seen, unlike physical ailments. Yes, we are talking of mental health, mental illness. And our guest today is also a very talented singer. And today he has brought with him his guitar to lighten the mood of a so-called heavy topic. Please feel free to comment, to participate, and ask questions to our guest on the comment box. We'd love to hear from you. And also, we'll be answering your questions as we go along. Now, without any further delay, I welcome our guest today, Jayanta Ray, on our screen.
Hello, Shonali.
Hello, Jayanta. How are you? So lovely to see you.
Absolutely. It's steaming hot outside, so you would not see me with the tux, the photograph that you had on the poster. So just couldn't wear that. So that's why the red shirt. Hopefully, it's not a red herring.
Absolutely, yeah. I know the weather. I mean, we can complain because we don't get the sun in UK.
It's what we would call the glorious weather.
The glorious weather, absolutely. And it's been, thankfully, fingers crossed, it's going to be there for some more time. Hope so. So, Jayanta, I'm so grateful and thankful to you for giving us your time today to be with us on Triveni Media. Truly honored. And I'm really, really looking forward to the conversation we are going to have and to listen to the stories you're going to share of your journey and the amazing work that you and your Sangeet Foundation team does. And so allow me a little bit, sorry.
I said my pleasure. Thank you.
Most welcome. Allow me to introduce, viewers, please allow me to introduce Jayanta properly. So Jayanta is a senior IT professional and a musician. He, along with his wife, Nupur, has founded Sangeet Foundation, registered with Charity Commission as Sangeet Global, that aspires to create awareness of and showcase the power of music and the arts as complementary therapy for people suffering from plain unhappiness to the more clinical mental health issues, such as autism, ADHD, clinical anxiety, and depression. He has lived in various countries, including Singapore, Brunei, Hong Kong, and the United Kingdom, apart from India. He currently lives in Bracknell in England. And currently he's pursuing a PhD with De Montfort University, Leicester, about creating community resilience through creative arts using digital media, drawing upon his experience of conducting more than 110 digital programs on Sangeet Foundation during the pandemic. So Jayanta, like as I was reading through this, I was having this feeling of awe deep inside me and a huge, huge respect for you. It absolutely would have been a pleasure to have your wife Nupur with us today as well. But again, like there's always a next time, isn't it?
Sure. Thank you for the kind introduction. So it's
well deserving, and I think it's definitely not enough. You to the relating to what you do and the breadth of things which you do is just really a very, very humble introduction for yourself.
Thank you.
So, Jayanta, before I ask you a question and we go on with with how you would like to share your story, I'd like to play a video for our viewers. So let's get the video coming.
So in January 2015, Nupur and Jayanto co-founded Sangeet Foundation to create mental health awareness, provide guidance and resources by leveraging music and the arts, especially among the South Asian diaspora.
We feel very strongly about mental health because we've come across friends and family who have got issues about mental health, and because we are big time into music, we love our music, so we just thought why not combine the two together and see what we can come up with.
So that was a very short video which we wanted to play just to introduce our viewers to Sangeet Foundation. And isn't that amazing? And now we'd like to hear about Sangeet Foundation right from the horse's mouth. Please tell us, Jayanta, what is Sangeet Foundation and the idea, vision behind it?
So for Sangeet Foundation, our motto is happiness through music and the arts. When we talk about happiness, it is a state of mind. That's what we all aspire to be in that state of mind. Dig a bit deeper. It's about mental health. It's about mental wellness. It is about mental health. And the whole idea is to address mental health and mental wellness using music and the arts. So the idea is that when we address mental health, first thing is to be aware of it. First is to create awareness, to say that this thing happens, and it happens to everybody. It, whether you like it or not, it happens. It's just that, so everybody's on a particular scale. So when the scale is on the left hand side, it's you deal with it on a day-to-day basis. You feel sad, bring it back. But then when it starts tipping to the right and it tipping over, that is where you need to be aware that this happens and that you need to seek help. So you need to be able to identify the Ravan in the room, to say the Ravan exists in the room. Sometimes it's weak, sometimes it's strong. Question is, how do you identify the Ravan in the room, right? So how does it look like? And that's where it's all about signposting, to say, what is mental health? Is there a definition around mental health? And if there is, how do I know that there's a problem in the family? If there's a problem in the family, what do I do? Where do I go? How do I seek help? What will people say when I seek help? You see? So the whole idea is to address that. And because it's a big taboo topic, especially in the South Asian diaspora, and we don't like to speak about it. So that is one, to keep talking about it so that people understand that it happens, and it happens to everybody, and they need to be aware. They don't need to be worried about it, because having a fever does not mean you have a bad physical ailment. So like physical health, mental health is also a medical issue. So first port of call is a doctor, right? So it's about creating that awareness. Absolutely. But then when I speak about mental health, people run in the opposite direction, because it's not a very comfortable topic to talk about, you see. And so that is where we use music and the arts to, firstly, you have this program, song, dance, music, get people in, and then talk about mental health. You see, it's like a fishing rod. So where you use a bait to get people in, talk about it, because it's important that we need to talk about it. And to support this up, we get celebrities in, right? People use Amitabh Bachchan to sell soap. I use celebrities to sell the concept of mental health, that it happens, and it happens even to celebrities. So when people see that people like them or people they admire have had this, it's easier for them to come out of the shell. Even not completely, but then that's what it is. So, and then explore the possibility of using music and the arts as complementary therapy.
Absolutely. Like, I totally agree to each and everything which you said. And it's so true. Like you said, people do not come out, and probably they do not understand what they're going through themselves, because it's not so well defined, just as physical ailments are, and it's not so clear cut. So there are lots of overlaps. There are, there's a difficulty in understanding the vocabulary to use to to express and to basically define what we are going through emotionally, mentally. So I think with awareness, the vocabulary develops and the courage develops. And hats off to you for taking that initiative and taking the lead, really, for a community, because people probably wouldn't know where to go and what to do. So when they see a lot of people taking that initiative and encouraging others, so that's what motivates them to come out of the shell and also say, yes, of course, I have to address this issue.
Absolutely. So it's all about creating awareness so that people take that initiative to look out for help. Because the problem here is also that, the knowledge about mental health is what used to be the knowledge about physical health, say 100 years back. So it's quite rudimentary, even though you have the experts, and obviously they are the experts in this field. But what goes on in the mind, very few people can say, or people don't know exactly what's happening. And that's the code that people would love to crack. Till then, there are the experts and we have to rely on them for their help. Like 100 years back, we used to rely on experts for physical health, even though not much was known, but they were the best go-to person.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Jayanta, how did it all start? What made you and your wife Nupur start Sangeet Foundation?
So there
We
are,
have a video related to that, but I think we'll play the video after you've explained how you started the journey.
sure. So there are two parts to the whole story, right? So one part was about, we had our, a celebration at home, and we were celebrating our anniversary. Invited a lot of friends to come over, and what we said was, don't bring gifts. If you have to give something, there's a box, donate something. Those gifts, as you know, especially in our community, either it gets passed on or it stays in your garage. Very few of them actually get used in the house. So we said, forget about it, just donate. So we collected a substantial amount of money, 500 pounds, and said, what do we do with it? So one option was to give it away to some charity and be done with it. Other one was to say, how can we use this to, grow on top of it and do something useful? And we were looking out for a cause, so to speak. And then that is where the cause presented itself, in terms of the fact that, my elder daughter, she was excellent in studies. She was doing really well in school, top of the class. She joined Oxford in economics and management, another tough course to get into. And she was the co-president of Capitox, which is a student body, and they used to hold these annual functions in the Oxford Union, and she used to host the economics Nobel laureates and stuff.
Wow.
And then she was in the final year and she had a job. Yeah, and then one day she came home and said, Papa, I've been diagnosed with adult ADHD, clinical anxiety, dyspraxia, and depression. And we said, so for me, they were all terms. And like a good Indian father, I said, you know what? These don't happen in our household. These are all Western concepts. All these Westerners, they come up with this concept. You just go ahead and do your studies. 1 year to go. Focus on that. You have a job. Take that job. And, you are set in life. But then it was not to be, because my daughter had already got herself diagnosed in Oxford. So where she went, and she had a feeling that there was an issue. And of course, we went there. And then there was a bit of, to cut a long story short, there was a big struggle, and she was at home. And, and then we went through the process of saying, where shall we go? Who do we reach out to? Right? What will people say? What has happened to her? And she would become gossip for people. So, but then we had to reach out. We reached out for for part of the group. She became coffee table conversation, which was fine. But there was a group which came forward and said, no, Jayanta, there are ways and avenues the way you can address it. So obviously we tried a lot of different things. Some of them worked, some of them did not. Some NHS worked, some NHS did not. Even NHS, because of funding cuts, there were delays. So we had to go through a private process. Fortunately for her, we could do that process as well, because I was willing to put that in, and that can be very, very expensive. So some of it we did. And then what happened was, so we went through the process of medication, meditation, then we had counseling. But one of the big things which helped her was music, because in Reading there's a charity called Ready Pop, who teach music to people with mental health issues, and somebody suggested that. Thankfully, my daughter agreed to go there. She went there. She started learning drumming. In a couple of years' time, she came out of it. Because after she graduated, she couldn't do her job for a couple of years, good couple of years. So she was in her home, in the home, in her room, and suffering from anxiety. Huge anxiety, which initially it was very difficult for me to accept, understand, and
Understand.
accept. Right?
Yeah.
Things like making a cup of tea. So she would
Mm.
say, "Yes, Papa, I'll make it for you, but may not be now, may not be after a couple of hours, may not be tomorrow. Someday I'll make it for you."
Mm.
And you would be wondering, what's the big deal? You just heat water, cup,
Yeah.
pour water, tea bag. That's it. But she
Mm.
couldn't do that. She suffered, and so it took me a lot of while to actually accept it. But then, when she went through a drumming process, so after that she applied for 50 jobs. Out of that, 20 jobs rejected her, 5 selected her. She took the job she wanted to do, moved out of the house, stays in London with her friends, right?
Mm.
Obviously, it's not 100% there, it's 80 to 90% there. 10 to 20% she still struggles, and it'll be there. It's a lifetime thing, and she'll have to manage. But at least she has a life that she leads. So that is where we said, you know what? So then I started exploring, because I had never seen this around my in my circles or my family and so on.
Yeah.
But when I started talking to people and said, this is a mechanism, this happens, and you should be able to address it, and music is definitely one of the big things. So then so 3 households out of 4, they told me, Jayanta, you are talking to the converted, because in my family, my son, daughter, husband, wife, brother, sister, mother, father, uncle, aunt, friend, somebody has had an issue and people have lost lives. And then I realized that the problem is really big, but people wouldn't come out in the public because it's a taboo topic. It's something that people don't want to discuss in public.
No.
And which is fine. Everybody has a journey, because we were not willing to discuss it in the beginning. But then my daughter agreed, and we are doing this. Obviously, even now I think, should I have gone public? So you still have those lingering doubts. But having said that, we did what we had to do, and there are people who have started coming out. So, and the whole idea is to do these sessions, where we sit down and have people, the experts coming in, the people who have undergone this issue, they come on stage, they share their experience. So when people see that somebody like them has undergone this, they know that they can also discuss this. They know who to discuss this with, right?
Yes.
And if they talk to people who have undergone this, they know they'll not be judged, because being judged is a big issue with people, to say, because we do that. Yeah, when our daughter has a problem, they say, oh, the father must have put pressure on the child, or must have been abusive, or whatever. There are people, and those speculation is always there. So people don't tend to hide things till they see a person who's been through it, and they know they'll not be judged. So people start opening up. So the whole idea is to have that conversation, to open up and talk about that, that it happens, and you need to seek help. If you don't seek help and you don't talk about it openly, then you lose the child. You may not be physically, but you would stop all communications with the child. And I have seen so many cases, people who have reached out to me saying that, oh, my son is in Cambridge, he locks himself in a room, he'll not be talking to us, he's very abusive to us, and so on. So you need to be able to open up and be able to have that conversation. Not that it guarantees anything, but you can try.
Yeah. Absolutely. A lot of things to absorb. Let's have a video.
Sure.
It was a proud moment for Jayanta and Nupur Ray. Their firstborn Oishika had gotten into Oxford.
Unused creativity is not denied. It metasizes. It turns into rage, sorrow, judgment, and shame. And I've experienced those feelings quite a lot personally.
But during her final year at Oxford, Oishi came home and declared that she has been diagnosed with multiple disorders.
I have ADHD, dyspraxia, as well as anxiety and depression that I think more or less are the result of both the ADHD and dyspraxia.
The parents went through denial at first, followed by acceptance and finally confusion about where to find help. After multiple visits to specialists and counselors, it was medication, meditation, and music that paved the way.
Music has always been something that I've used to kind of distract myself from like the noise going on in my brain. The way in which it's changed my moment-to-moment experience of living has been kind of untold. I'm very grateful for that.
Learning to play the drums was a visceral experience that changed Oshi's life and brought back sunshine to her parents' lives.
This is courage. This is brave. This is being fearless. Wow, I salute the lovely and brave Oishika, her sister, you and your wife, Jayanta. So much, like I said, so much to absorb, reflect, and process. And I'm sure many, many of us will connect to that very strongly. And like you, likewise, I would like to also add to that I, as a person, also always believe that we are a neurodiverse population, always, but made to follow the neurotypical ways. And it's time that we realize the value of neurodiversity and celebrate it. And it's time we restructured the world to make it enjoyable and productive for everyone, regardless of what they have and what they can bring.
Thank you for that. I think the job that the work that you are doing, Shonali, is fantastic, because I never understood neurodiversity till it happened in our family with my daughter, and it's, well, I think it's wrong to say till it happened. It was there right from the beginning. We did not recognize it, and my daughter always felt that there was something wrong, and she always blamed herself for it till she, went for graduation and then got herself diagnosed, and that's where that was a big leap that she took, and we followed that.
Yeah. So, Jayanta, this calls for something to celebrate. So, can we please have the pleasure of listening to a song from you?
Okay.
To lighten up, to lighten everyone up, really.
Yeah. So, what I'll do is I'll sing a song which we made for Sangeet Foundation. It's the song is called Umeede or Hope.
Wow. Wow. So this is a original song which was created by Sangeet Foundation.
That's right.
Wow.
Right. So
wow. It will be an honor to listen.
Right. So this was penned by an ex-colleague and a friend of mine called Ajay Chandran. Right. So Ajay Chandran stays in Reading, and he's an IT professional as well, quite a senior guy, and he's also penned songs for people like Kumar Sanu and all. So
wow.
And so this is, and so he sent me this set of lyrics, and I put tune to it. I'd like
to. And so it's the tune is given by you?
That's right.
Wow, I can't wait to hear it.
And generally, anyway, so it's original, and I hope it sounds nice.
Yep. I mean, you should be proud of it. Absolutely. We don't get to hear original songs,
Here we go. हसरत को उड़ने दो, हवाओं से मिलने दो, अंधेरा है जहाँ में तो यादों में जलने दो, हसरत को उड़ने दो, हवाओं से मिलने दो, अंधेरा है जहाँ में तो में जलने दो, हसरत तोड़ने दो। माना के बदला सा आलम ये शहर का है, सुनी है गली दिल की, अपनों से भी दूरी है, फिर तुमसे गले मिलने खुशियों को तो आनी है, मुस्कान एक जरा अपने होठों पे यूं रहने दो, हसरत को उड़ने दो। हौसला हो, इरादे हो, फिर क्या है जो मुश्किल हो, इंसान की हकीकत वो, हारे नहीं हिम्मत वो। हौसला हो, इरादे हो, फिर क्या है जो मुश्किल हो, इंसान की हकीकत वो, हारे नहीं हिम्मत वो। फिर वक्त ये बदलेगा, उम्मीद ये कायम हो, उस पार तो सवेरा है, जरा रात को टलने दो, हसरत को उड़ने दो, हवाओं से मिलने दो, अंधेरा है जहाँ में तो, याद में जलने दो, जरा रात को टलने दो, याद में जलने दो। Thank you. I think you are on mute, Shonali.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry. Yes, I had muted myself. Well, I was saying, like, what an amazing song that is. It's so inspirational.
Thank you.
Wow, the lyrics are amazing. The tune, I mean, I when I listened to the song, I felt I already heard it because the tune, it just synced in, it just synced in. Wow, and brilliantly sung. You're so talented, Jayanta. Thank you for
Thank
that
you for all
lovely,
the
lovely.
praise.
Deserving, well deserving. So, Jayanta, we'd like to know more about you. Please tell us about yourself. And then we'll come back to Sangeet Foundation, but a little bit more on a personal touch. We'd like to know what Jayanta Ray is about.
Well, I'm basically a very small town boy from back from Patna, and so I did my engineering and then moved around the world, engineering, and then joined IT essentially, and then moved all around the world. And for me, I always wanted to see. There were two aspects of me. One was, of course, to see how we could help people, and I was always into organizing. So things like if people are from Jamshedpur, they will know about a festival called Wheels. And this is in Telco Club that we set up, that I initiated in long time back in 1988.
Wow.
Wheels 88 was the first one, and it was a 3-day festival. It was inter-club, inter-college, inter-school within Jamshedpur, and we used to have a fantastic time. And this was all supported by the management and so on. So Wheels exists even today. So, and it's a mega
Wow.
festival now where they have big bands and big names playing as well on the last day, final day. We used to have a 3-day festival in terms of Eastern music, Western music, group, solo, dance, creative writing, a lot of different kind of competitive uh, competitions, and then the points would be awarded and so on. Anyway, so and we had parallels where just fun events there. So so that was one, and over the period of time, I've done a bit of performing and so on and so forth. But one of the things which I took up as a challenge was something called the Swimathon, which
wow.
happens in the UK.
Swimathon. Wow.
Right. So Swimathon is it's now it's an organization which collects, which raises funds, and basically for cancer charities.
Oh, okay.
So till the beginning of the pandemic, I did around 10 years of Swimathon. So it was 2.5 kilometers swim, and so I raised some funds based on over the 10 years, till of course my focus started being on Sangeet Foundation. And
wow, 5 kilometers is like
2.5 kilometers.
2.5 kilometers. Wow, that's a long distance as well,
So,
and you had to continuously swim that.
Yes, that's right.
That length. Wow.
100 lengths, so of a 50-meter swing.
Yeah.
Or 25 meter swing.
Right.
100 lengths of that. So, and what has happened is, from over the years, I've learned a lot from my daughters as well. So in terms of both have been inspiration for me in different ways, and it's been a big learning journey as well for me. So till we started Sangeet Foundation, this was also guided by, of course, my wife and I set it up, but my 2 daughters, they also supported me up in this whole process. And you saw, so what we do in Sangeet Foundation is we celebrate International Happiness Day, because we believe in happiness through music and art.
Yeah.
And the clip that you saw about my daughter, that was the International Happiness Day we celebrated in 2019.
Oh, okay.
So and that was with the caveat where she told me, Papa, I'll do it if I do it.
Yeah.
So because she went through that anxiety,
Yeah.
she said, if I go on stage and do it, I will do it, but I cannot guarantee you anything whether I'm going to do it or not. But then finally she did.
Yeah.
And that was a big takeaway for us.
Amazing. So thanks for sharing that, Jayanta. So coming back to Sangeet Foundation, could you please tell us what Sangeet Foundation has done so far or is doing in terms of activities, events which you organize?
So we started off like I said, over the period of time, 2015 onwards, we were engaging with various organizations.
Yeah.
And we were still trying to find our feet to say what exactly, we were still defining ourselves in terms of what are we standing for. Because I realized that I'm not a trained mental health professional, right? So I can't, I'm not a counselor. So what am I doing here in the mental health space? And so what do we do? And that is where we define, that is where the realization came that creating that awareness and creating that platform where we connect people to various people, that is important. And given the fact that I have a day job and everybody who is involved has a day job, we don't have full-time volunteers anyway, or paid volunteers. And people raise funds by donating funds from their pockets. We are not at a position where we get government grants and so on. So we've not had that.
Mm.
And so what we have done till now is, so we started off by small sessions talking to people.
Yeah.
And the first major one was in 2019. So 16th of March, where we had a session with multiple experts and people with who have undergone this kind of an issue. There were speakers who came and spoke about their situation. They shared their stories, and then we had a playback singer from Kolkata, Shonali Chattopadhyay. So she's done playback for Vyomkesh Bokshi, so the movie, and she came and she performed.
Yeah.
And in the process, leading up to that, I would go and do lots of these little talks about Sangeet Foundation, why it was important, why mental health is important, and why they should come for the 16th March program. So that was a sales pitch. But from that sales pitch, what happened was a lot of curiosity was created. People started talking about it. And I remember going to, 16th March was a program. 15th January, I went to this event in an Assamese get together, right? So they had this Sankranti, which was there, and I was asked to speak for 4-5 minutes, and I did. But then what I realized when I was speaking, everybody was chatting away, and like we have in these gatherings. These are not very informal gatherings, and
Yeah.
they were having their own little chit chat, so which we generally tend to do. So I thought perhaps this is well, I did not get across to people, but later on when I was standing at the reception counter, there was this lady who came across and asked me, "Are you a doctor? What do you do?" And she started having a conversation with me why autism is not mental health. At that time, I was clueless, really. I didn't even know. So I thought, autism is mental health, and so on. So, and that distinction which was there, no clue. I said, "What is your interest? And what do you do?" So this lady was pursuing a master's in London, and she said she had attempted suicide 5 times. Right? And she said, she was in Assam, and when it happened to her first time, and she spoke, and she asked her dad to, that she wanted to go and see a psychiatrist. Her dad say, "Why would you do that? Are you mad?" So that was a level of awareness anyway. So I digress, but we did all these small, talks around that.
Yeah.
Obviously, 16th of March was a marquee program, 2019. We followed it up with 2 programs in SOAS, London, School of Oriental and African Studies, and in Nehru Center, 2 other programs. They were not so much about talks, but at least about the awareness. So we did that. Then came 2020, and we were supposed to do a stage show in March, and end of February, everything got locked.
Lockdown. Yeah.
And then we thought, the initiative is gone. But what I realized is that it was a boon in disguise, in the sense that, we discovered online and we started doing online. Since then, we've done around 110 programs, online programs. And I was supported. We were blessed with support from various kinds of people, various celebrities. Usha Uttupji performed, spoke about Sangeet Foundation, why mental health is important, her journey. Anup Jalota. There were a lot of other people. So then we had got Kavita Podwal, Anuradha Podwal's daughter. There was grandson of Bade Ghulam Ali Khan Sahab. He was there. And so there were a lot of different people who came and spoke about mental health and why it was important.
Yes.
And so what happened was, obviously we celebrated the International Happiness Day. We did International Mental Health Day, International Mental Health Week. So we were able to do that online. And because it was a lockdown, and people would attend. And over that period of time, what happened was, when we had these discussions, and especially with mental health experts, we did a series on autism. What we realized, we automatically curated a set of programs which were on YouTube, where people could revisit and get information if they wanted to, if they want to. Even
Right.
now they are there,
Yeah.
and they know who to reach out to. So if you don't want to reveal yourself or tell people who you are, you can still go ahead and look at that and get your information from there. Right? So we got that, and obviously a lot of people got involved in the process. So many people have we are a big team now, right? Big team, and people have been part of the journey. um, I'm really blessed with that. And so what happened was, based on that, we so I said, what, based on that, we need to be able to do some kind of a research work as well, to say, with mental health. So when we did work with, say, Roshni 2 project as well. Roshni 2 project is part of Lancaster NHS Trust, and they deal with postpartum depression in new mothers. And we have had a couple of sessions with them and so on. So we have had the blessing of getting involved with lots of different people. And it's all on the YouTube channel of Triveni Foundation, and it's available there. But there's a lot of information there. And then for the research, then what we did was, then De Montfort University suggested that, since we have so many programs, that we do a research on creating community resilience using creative arts on digital platform. So I started a PhD on that.
And such a interesting topic, really.
True. So and that I think also, obviously, is a very daunting thing for me at my age to get into that and be able to do that. But I thought, that what it did do is, I said, it's creating so much of our amount of awareness, which we started off with, you see.
Yes.
And if I'm able to work with various people, various experts, get them to the table, and we did that in this year's World Happiness Day as well, where there were experts in the panel, in the discussion, and people who have experience with that. And that helps create awareness. And that is what we have been doing all this while.
I've been privileged to enough to be part of one of your Hues of Happiness. It was really lovely, as an audience. So it was
and not only as an audience, as a contributor to the magazine as well. And thank you for that. That was a lovely article.
Most welcome. It was just a small gesture, really. But what Sangeet Foundation had organized was really, really praiseworthy. So many people. It was lovely to see so many people come and come together and get involved and contribute. That was really a lovely experience. Let me show Jayanta, a video just based on what you talked about to our viewers.
But then the world came to a standstill with the coronavirus pandemic in 2020. So Sangeet Foundation harnessed the power of social media. Today, about 4.7 thousand members of Sangeet Foundation Facebook group find relief, solace, and a sense of purpose by posting and sharing songs, dances, artwork, photographs with messages about mental health awareness. In the year 2021, Sangeet Foundation was granted charity status by Charity Commission UK and is today registered as Sangeet Global Limited.
Sangeet Foundation uses a fourfold strategy. Firstly, to hold live programs with well-known performing artists and celebrities from UK, India, the Americas, and other South Asian countries. Secondly, holding workshops and panel discussions with mental health experts, including psychiatrists, psychologists, counselors, and people who have undergone this experience. Thirdly, to conduct research projects on mental health, creative arts, music, and media, in partnership with universities like De Montfort University in Leicester, South Asia Institute of SOAS in London, and other research foundations. And finally, to engage and collaborate with governmental bodies, like NHS Trust charities and non-governmental organizations across UK and India.
So, Jayanta, there are a number of prominent people who support Sangeet Foundation and are your happiness ambassadors. And it's brilliant to see how people in the community have come forth to support your cause and are becoming agents of spreading the message, bringing about change. So, how did you mobilize them and encourage them to join you?
So it's all about creating that awareness, and people who believed in the cause, they connected. So it's about people who connected and said, you know what, we will we need to get this person on board. I know this person who knows this person, and we will get them on board. So we have had, through contacts to friends, when the celebrities heard about the cause, they were taken in, and they came in to support us as well. So that was very that was lucky of us, and that was a blessing for us to get them on board. So we have had Aparna Sen and Vikram Ghosh as our patrons, and so on. So yeah, essentially that. So we had friends, people, when they helped us connect with the celebrities, so that we could use the celebrities to talk about mental health rather than
Absolutely.
use people the way people use celebrities to sell soaps.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. Let's have a look at some of your, ambassadors talking. So here's a video I'm going to play.
Organizations and people who believed in this cause joined this journey and came together as a team. We have with us celebrated filmmaker and actor Padma Shri Aparna Sen.
I think Sangeet Foundation is doing wonderful work in the area of mental health.
Acclaimed music composer and tabla maestro Pandit Bikram Ghosh.
Namaskar, I am Bikram Ghosh, and I'd like to congratulate Sangeet Foundation for the wonderful work they're doing.
Renowned singer and everyone's favorite Didi, Padma Shri Usha Uthup.
Hi everybody, namaskaram, sat sri akal, salam alaikum. I'm Usha Uthup and I'm your Didi, and I'd like for all of you to please join us, that is join Jayanta Ray. Let us all get together, because Sangeeta Foundation believes in the fact that we can all get together by supporting the performing arts and music. Don't forget about that, please, because music brings the world together.
Revered Ghazal Maestro and Bhajan Samrat Padma Shri Anup Jalota.
इस संगीत फाउंडेशन में हमारे साथ जुड़िए और इसका हिस्सा बनिए, इसको शक्ति दीजिए. धन्यवाद.
Life coach, singer, actor and happiness ambassador of Sangeet Foundation, Pilu Vidyarthi.
Namaskar. As the happiness ambassador of Sangeet Foundation, it's my privilege to be associated with this initiative.
And many, many more are joining us as we speak.
Oh, that's so lovely to watch that. So, like we were discussing, Jayanta, when mental illness happens, we know like it's not a good feeling, but exactly what we fail to, what it is, we fail to make sense of it ourselves and leave alone explaining to others. So it's all about the work which you're doing, and about acknowledging, accepting that is part of that. It is part of our being human, just as physical illness is part of our lives. And we come across many who look down upon people with mental illness as being weak, as giving up on life, as having some strange affliction. So those who have mental illness mostly, I would say, yes, definitely mostly suffer in silence. So we all need to look at it eye to eye, squarely, and hold their hand so that they can feel supported and seek out appropriate help. So it's really, really wonderful to see what kind of work you are doing, and particularly people of our community, probably they'll not know where to go for help as well. So that is where your role is coming in and, helping them out so beautifully. So, where do you see Sangeet Foundation in 5 years' time, and also in the long run, Jayanta?
Well, 5 years time, of course, is a long time. The long run also. So the whole idea about Sangeet Foundation, the aim of Sangeet Foundation is to be able to work with other charities so that um, the aim is twofold. One is to get the South Asian diaspora in UK talking about it and getting help, because I believe charity begins at home. So
Yeah.
when I say charity begins at home, it starts with myself to begin with, then my family, immediate family, my friends, my extended friends, the South Asian diaspora that we are talking about. Because if we are not able to address ourselves first, we can't do much about the others as well. Yes, sending help to India or to the third world is important. But I'm saying that we first and foremost we need to take care of ourselves. So,
Yeah.
which is why we need to be able to address the South Asian diaspora. So, and to get them out in the open so that we are talking about it. Even today, I went, like I was telling you, I was going. We had gone for a birthday party, and and at the table they were asking about Sangeet Foundation and what we are doing and so on. And we started talking about, in a few years' time, we should be in a position where when we get together and to a lunch where we are having lunch, we should be in a position to be able to discuss mental health as well. Because nowadays, what you do is you talk about TV serials, right? Or even physical health, where you say, oh, I have had a bad pain in my leg, and
Yes,
what are
very easily we can say that.
that's right. So that we can say, we discuss various physical ailments, but and we say, my hand is broken, but I can't say my mind is broken, right? So it sounds weird, but then the whole idea is to normalize that, and people should be in a position to say, my mind is a bit broken today, and I am seeking help.
Yeah.
So it should be as easy as that. And so we have to get that conversation going to that level of that level. That
Yeah.
is one. And so that people are aware and they are seeking help and we are able to help each other. I know there is no 100% cure or 100% addressing it, but if we can get it 90% there from that 10% that we are talking today, I think we
Yeah.
have had a job done. That is one. Secondly, awareness of this in schools. So in terms of today, we have religious education, sex education for children. Why can't we have mental health education as well? And
Very well said. Absolutely.
it can be age appropriate. I'm not saying
Yeah.
you know you can't teach a 7-year-old about bipolar and disease and stuff. So age appropriate, and to be able to say that I'm not feeling so good and I should reach out to my teacher or to my parents and so on.
Yeah.
And that is important, because the gap right now is that from a child joining a school to the point that the child is identified as a special education's need child. So
Yeah.
you are identifying a child's deficiency by his education needs. So you first identify the child that there's an issue when the grades start falling, and that's where you address it. But that should not be the first port of call. It should be earlier than that.
Yeah.
And for that, you need to work very closely with the child, where you educate the child to come forward. There will be a few false alarms, which is fine. I would rather have a false alarm than an actual one triggering somewhere else.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
not only that, because since we don't have this kind of education, my daughter, for example, so she has been a brilliant student, and the doctors say her intelligence has camouflaged her problems. And when you talk about ADHD, there's a lot of hyperactivity involved, but in girls it is more about ADD. There's very little bit of hyperactivity. It's more about attention
Hyperactivity.
deficiency.
Yeah.
And that does not get picked up.
Yes. Yes.
And that's why, and the child, when the child feels like that, feels a bit depressed, and because of that, they're not able to cope. They don't know whether it's a valid thing to go to a parent or to a teacher, and whether they'll get slapped for that or told off for that.
Yes.
And that is why we need to have mental health education even for the children, age appropriate.
Yes, absolutely. I agree totally. And like you said, that the intelligence kind of masks, and it's statistics say that girls mask more than anybody else really, even when it comes to other conditions like autism. The girls who have autism, they mask very well, but there comes a time when things fall apart, because how long that is quite a lot. That's a lot of pressure to take on, to mask things. So
True.
yeah, it's very true. Yeah.
And for example, there was a BBC presenter, I remember, I forget the name of the lady, and she was 22 years old, and she was told, "You are too pretty to be autistic." You see, and that's the kind of conversation which is happening. We need to avoid that, and we need to arrest that right up front.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Jayanta, here's my friend Shivani, who's asked this question. She says, "For me, music is the cure for all my mental issues. So how do you promote music to people who have tried many ways to de-stress themselves and are not aware that music could be a solution to their problems?"
And
I think a lot of what you said has already answered her question, but please.
Absolutely. And great question, Shivani. I think what we need to do, and that's why I'm saying that, we have to relentlessly go after this. That's what we have had a few breaks now, but week after week, we used to have these programs where we kept putting it into people's minds that be aware, and music and the arts. It's not only music, it's also the arts. It might be painting, dance, photography, movie making, you name it, any one of those you should be able to use. And the whole idea is to keep talking about it, having musical programs, and through those musical programs talk about it and demonstrate how this music can help, and get people who are the experts talking about it, have a few workshops, when we, and so you were asking me about what is the future aim of Sangeet Foundation. So the idea was also to do this smaller, so apart from these open forums, we should be in a position to do smaller get-togethers and more focused ones, where we talk about it and look for solutions, so that the privacy is maintained as well, rather than do it in big forums, or even one-on-one, have these kind of sessions. So we keep the conversation going, and we use music and the arts, demonstrate, and refer to people who are the experts. Like I said, Ready Pop in Reading, right? And there are other organizations also who are developing these kind of small, their capability to address. They are not charities, but they paid organizations, but you can still go there, and they do help with special education needs and so on.
Yes, absolutely. There are lots of help out there. We just need to be aware of what's available. We just need to have the courage to go out, reach out for them, and also have the courage or the awareness to talk about it, just the way we talk about other issues as well.
And that is why we need to enable that by creating forums, creating platforms where people can come together, share their views, and where people are not afraid to share their share their issues as well, so that they can brainstorm, seek help, and be signposted to where exactly they can get help from.
Absolutely. We have a last video for our viewers to see, and let's have a look at that.
Sure.
Conversations are beginning to happen. We look forward to the day when we will be able to talk about our mental health issues without shame and without stigma.
Sangeet Foundation aims to give us all the opportunity to speak openly about these issues through events in music and the arts. Let us open our minds and hearts and change our attitude towards mental health.
Wow. Jayanta, shall we have another song from you now?
All right. Okay. So so that was the last video was my wife speaking
That's
about
Nupur.
mental health. Yeah. Nupur.
Yes.
So okay. So this song that I'm doing again, it's a song about life, and a bit of a mostly I try to do a bit of philosophy songs, but which are good to listen to, and hopefully
Yeah.
you'll enjoy this.
I'm sure.
But the lyrics are really nice, so you can focus on the lyrics as well to listen to the song. धन से न दुनिया से, घर से न द्वार से, धन से न दुनिया से, घर से न द्वार से, सांसों की डोर बंधी है प्रीतम के प्यार से, दुनिया छूटे पर ना टूटे एक ऐसा बंधन है। I have a dream, a song to sing, to help me through anything. If you see the wonder of a fairy tale, you can take the future even if you fail. I believe in angels, something good in everything I see. I believe in angels, and I know the time is right for me. I'll cross the street. I have a dream. यही
Wow, wow. What a combination of two amazing songs.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Just my voice got caught, so probably.
No, we didn't understand that. But your voice, your, everything, the way you sang, and it's very, what do you say, very, uh, it made the environment very nice and light and airy, I would say, very
Thank you.
breezy. Thank you so much for that lovely song. It's
A bit of a
been,
philosophical song, but then, yeah, that's what it is.
yeah, that is like the song says, it's the second song, that it's reality, but reality does not have to be grim. Even with all the ups and downs, that is life, isn't it? The ups and the downs,
Absolutely.
that is what makes life. But yes, I think the things which help us in the along the way is music, arts, like you are professing, and humor, and all these things really make life worthwhile, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So thank you, Jayanta, for this amazing experience, and what a soul-touching, soul-stirring experience this 1 hour has been. And I'm sure we all have gained a lot from hearing from you today about a vital but of course less talked about area. And again, awareness on mental health is gaining momentum, but we still have miles to go. I always loved the quote that the only way out is in, and that's exactly what music, dance, and art does. They take us on an inward journey.
Absolutely. It's completely my pleasure. Thank you.
I have a very short poem to share, which I actually wrote today, just before the program. As I was getting ready, the words were forming in my head, and I thought, let me jot them down and see what comes up. So it's a very, very short just a few lines. I'd like to read it out. Let me see if I can find it. And it's about music and art and what it does to us, really.
Wonderful.
So here's the poem I'm going to read out. It permeates the silence between words. It imbues the gap between the breath. It travels from our senses and touches the chords deep inside to stir up the soul, to waken up the dormant. It fills, it spreads, it stirs. It holds our hand and takes us to a destination where joy is not a word, but an experience. It holds our hand and takes us on a ride to colorful pastures where happiness reside.
Wonderful. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you, Jayanta. And
Thank you.
Sincere prayers and well wishes from me and from Team Triveni to you and Sangeet Foundation. May you keep on touching the lives of the many and add to the space where people can come together through music and arts to promote and safely talk about their mental health and also their well-being, their overall well-being. And I really look forward to having another conversation with you sometime.
Absolutely. Same here. And thank you, Triveni, and you for having me on the show, on the event.
Thank you, Jayanta. Any parting words?
Well, I think the only thing I can say is we need to keep, when you ride on the streets, when you drive, you see that these bikers which say, think bike, right? And I always imagine if they replace that with think mental health, how would it sound?
You should advocate for that, actually. It's an amazing idea. I think, you are, of course, a big platform to carry it forward, but please, we would love to see those, what do you call them? The banners on the cars.
Banners, yeah.
Yeah. Think mental health. Absolutely. Fantastic idea. I love that. I absolutely love that.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Jayanta.
Okay,
and we'll catch up again
Absolutely.
sometime.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay then. Bye now.
So viewers, what an experience it was. I'm still again trying to absorb all the things which has been shared by Jayanta, their stories on the Sangeet Foundation, what they do, what amazing platform they are to bring mental health issues to the forefront and to talk about mental illness in general. So I wish them all the best, and the same goes for Triveni Media. We are really privileged to have had Jayanta today with us. So dear friends, thank you for watching and for your lovely comments and your questions. We will have more events coming up on Triveni. Shibani will bring you the next program on the Shibani Show very soon. Stay tuned, so watch the space. And I, Shonali, wishing you good health and happiness always. Namaste.